Hello, everybody. Joe the Lawyer from Metalog Man Cave. Got a video for you today about how to use some basic old school principles and maybe some couple house rules in your new 5e game, your D&D 24, or even Pathfinder to make your game faster during combat. How to move it along, right? First principle, old school gaming. You always hear about rulings instead of rules. It's hard to do that. Sometimes you're thinking to yourself, well, when I got a book this damn thick and it's full of rules, and oh my god, what am I going to do? Right? It says everything I can or cannot do in here. That's not actually true. It just has a list of things you might do or not do. If your players and yourself think outside the box, that is one huge thing. You never know what's going to happen within a game, right? But if the players are constantly trained to look at their character sheets, all right, that's all they're ever going to do forever. That's it. That's all they're ever going to do. Look at the character sheet because it's going to tell me every single option I can do. What I've done in the past for new players, especially or newish players, is I'll take their character sheets from them and I'll put them face down. I'll say, now tell me what you want to do. I'm like, oh my God, what can I do? What do you want to do? Well, what can I do? Whatever the hell you want to do. Tell me what you want to do. And then it starts them thinking, I'm not relying upon this character sheet. Holy crap. Holy crap. And then they start, thinking outside the box or outside the character sheet, I guess you could say, right? And one good way to especially in a 5e game to help them along with that sort of a process is a reward system. Give them an inspiration point if they think outside the box in combat and it works. Okay. Another thing to spice up combat with an old school principle, death is way higher in old school games than it is in newer games, right? But it's harder to kill people in new school games because you have death saves. Death saves are I hate them. I gotta say, back in the day, we went to the negative hit points and all that stuff too. It's kind of an equivalent weird thing, but what I found a good way to do it is that intelligent monsters know that beings that they beat down, whether they're other monsters or bad guys or whatever, home invaders, because that's how an orc would look at a PC group as a bunch of home invaders, right? So orcs would know that, I beat him down, he gets up again. I beat him down, he gets up again, like that old they get knocked down and they get up again. That whole song, remember that one? I forget who the hell sang that thing. It was a weird name, some British band. But anyway, if you keep beating someone down and keep getting up because the healer does a spell or wherever the hell, and they're up again, they're fighting. Next thing you know, there's like a Mexican jumping means up, down, up, down, up, down. So a smart enemy is gonna like jump on them, right? So as soon as the fighter goes down, anything with like semi-intelligence of an 8 or higher is just going to get 3 of his buddies and just start smacking the crap out of it, right? And so you're beating the crap out of this fighter, which incurs automatic, if you hit, automatic failures of death saves until that PC is down. Now once these players know that that's might happen, right? Oh, like that, oh shit, not all things are resolved through combat. That's gonna they're gonna start thinking maybe I might want to do something other than combat all the time. But what might that be, you say? Oh my God, is there anything outside of combat for D&D? Well, yes, there is, boys and girls. You could actually negotiate. You could actually avoid the combat and steal the treasure, maybe sneak in, like the old Conan movie when he stole the gem and didn't want to fight the snake, but ended up fighting the snake anyway, of course, because shit happens, right? But yeah, you get in there, you don't have to fight sometimes. You negotiate or set up alliances with factions within a dungeon or something like that. So yeah, you can do something along those lines. Another thing I like to do is this is a minor house rule, but I think it really works well for lethality purposes. That doesn't make everybody die, but it makes it a little bit more lethal in combat. Is no ranged healing. So I think healing word you can do it from a distance. So the cleric is safely hidden behind the rock over there. And he's healing word. Screw that shit. No ranged healing of any kind. The old days, the clerics had to wade into combat. That's part of the reason why clerics were given heavy armor like fighters, because they're wading into combat. You got to touch the person you're trying to heal. So no ranged healing of any kind. Another thing too is a lot of people are like, well, we'll get through this combat, then we'll do a short rest. We'll do, maybe, who knows, we'll do a long rest. Don't let them rest, man. Just because they killed the thing doesn't mean that all that ruckus and the noise that they just did, all that havoc that just happened, the blood flowing down the hallways, that's going to attract something else, maybe, right? The friends and the buddies or something that smells the blood. Don't let them rest. Just don't let them rest. Give them something to fear. All right. Limit healing potions, of course. Limit healing scrolls. Just don't give them out or make them much more scarce than what they are. Don't make them purchasable by all means. Do not make them purchasable. All right. And no short rests. All right. Another good thing too is to keep track of equipment, because people listen, oh, it's too tedious. I don't want to do that. You got enough arrows and you got enough daggers. Bullshit. If you got a quiver of 20 arrows and you used up 15 of them in the last combat, you got 50. It means you got 5 left. Quick math. Yeah. Lawyers don't do math, right? It's divide by thirds. That's the old joke. But yeah, you got 5 left, right? If those 5, you shoot them into combat, they break sometimes, right? You can't retrieve them. You can't get them all back. I do I think what, 2 and 6 or 3 and 6 chance that they break if you shoot them out into combat, or lost or something like that, right? You're in the woods, you gotta find a thing. One time when I was a kid, I shot an arrow at my grandfather's house. It was an old shitty little bow and arrow I got for Christmas. I took a shot and aimed for a tree, missed the tree, went into some bushes behind it. I searched for 4 fucking arrows, like hours. I could not find the stupid arrow. It's still out there somewhere, and it's pissed me off because I only had 3 left. Three left. Then I was down to 2, right? So yeah, it's hard to find sometimes, and they'll break too, right? So yeah, same thing like daggers, unlimited daggers or hand axes or things like that. This shit might break. It might get lost. It sticks into the monster runs away, right? Because that's another thing. Morale checks, guys. Okay. Morale checks is a thing that the new school games just do not have. Basically, you give a monster a morale rating. Let's say a D12, I'm sorry, a 1 to 12 rating, right? And so you roll 2d6, and basically, if it's under the morale rating, okay, think about this. So let's say you have an average morale rating on a 1 to 12 would be a 6 or a 7, right? And so you roll 2d6, okay? If it is under the 2d6, what do you think is going to happen? All right. That means because the higher the rating of the monster's morale, the more chance it stays in the fight. So if it's under, it stays in the fight. Okay. If it's over, the monster flees. That's really it. It's as simple as that. It's not a complicated mechanic. So if you got a monster with a morale of 11, all right, he's only going to flee on a 2d6, 6 and 6, that's 12. That's it. If he has a morale of 6, 7, 50% chance. Now, when do you do morale checks? The old school, it's generally if like the leader is killed, or you reduce that creature to less than 50% of his hit points, or half of his comrades are killed. Some people do upon first blood. I don't like that, though. I don't like the first blood approach, because that just makes everybody keeps running away. You never get a killing, damn it. You got to get some kills, right? Another thing to do, too, just goes back to the equipment thing. There's it's not even an old rule. It's an old OSR rule that people came up with back when we were trying to figure out in the early days, 15, 17 years ago, the OSR, how to make combat more interesting, even in OSR, even old school games. So we came up with armor or shield breakage rules. So basically, let's say you get a shot, right? You're a fighter, you're a warrior. He takes a shot and it hits him in the shield. Or you can say, sorry, let me put it this way. It hits him, okay? And he has a shield. Now, if that blow would have brought him to below 0 hit points, then the fighter could sacrifice the shield and say the shield was destroyed, it took all the damage, but now he is shieldless, okay? The armor could have a similar rule. What happens, let's say you're wearing plate mail, right? Let's say it's a heavy armor. Let's say a type of heavy armor, okay? You're wearing, let's say, plate. And you take the blow and that would have brought you to below 0, right? In which case, what happens is your armor is now the equivalent of armor 1 category lower. Now it's equivalent of medium, let's say breastplate or something like that, right? Let's say in the next round of the combat, the breastplate takes a hit. Now the armor is the equivalent. It's all tattered and torn up and ripped and shredded and holes in it and everything else. So now it's the equivalent of leather. Hits it again, now you got no armor. And guess what? Not repairable either. Can't repair that shit in a dungeon. So now if you started with plate, you're down to leather after a couple of fights, but you're still wearing the plate. It's still the encumbrance of plate, right? It's all beat up and tattered and bent and all this kind of shit. But what's going on is it's not giving you the same protection. Okay. It's not giving you the same protection. Now, in that case, I would say, all right, you're allowed to, if it's just giving you leather armor protection, I'll let you strip the plates and the chain off and make it a little bit lighter in category. That's a fair rule. Okay. Another cool thing too is, in old school games, people always talk about, balance, schmalance. We don't need any stinking balance in our game. That's dumb. We deal with it. And It's true. You know, you get into a fight, you never know what you're going to fight. Just because it was easy last time doesn't mean it's easy this time. There is no expectation of a balanced encounter in old school games. Okay. Everybody's so fixated on stupid ass CR rules. There was all the rage to shit on Wizards of the Coast 5th edition 2014's CR system and how it breaks at higher levels. I never cared. I never understood the problem because I never looked at it. All I did was I just spitball. You know, I know my party. I know the monsters in the books, and I'm like, I'm gonna make this a hard fucking fight. All right, I'm gonna see if they run or if they might survive, or if they stick around. Let's see if they're smart or they're stupid. Let's see if they get lucky or not. I'm giving them 4 ogres at the second level, right? Who knows? Let's see what they do because they might run away. All right, they might avoid the encounter, or they might see that the ogre has a princess kept hostage or a bag of gold or whatever, and they might want the bag of gold and they figure out another way to get that. Okay, so that's what you do. Balance, the lack of balance gives it a little bit of spice because it adds more danger to it. Okay. Speaking of spice, good descriptions of what's going on really help. And I suck at this. I freely admit that I suck at this. I need to, I get so fixated on, all right, you hit, you did 8 damage. All right, who's up next? Because I want to move the combat, right? And in my effort, because I think that 5e combat's moves so damn slow, I want to move it faster by skipping the fluff and get into the crunch and say, oh, hit 8, done. All right, you're down to 62. All right, next you're up. All right, what that sort of thing, right? So that's what I'll do all the time. But I'm like, I'm missing out on the fun part of it. I'm missing out on the flavor. I think have them do it, have you do it yourself as a DM, do it, and just try to compete, out compete each other. Who has the best flavor description of whatever they're doing, right? As long as it's not something that the flavor is dictating an outcome. Okay. Like I shoot my fireball and it explodes in a massive blast of flames all around the orcs, and it blows 3 of them off the ledge and into the pit. No, it doesn't, motherfucker. It doesn't do that. I'm the DM. I say if it does that. You can say it, all the explosion, the effects, and all this kind of stuff, and then I'll tell you what happened as the outcome. Okay, that's the one thing people try to, screw the pooch on the game there and sort of take control of the game. Right, so that's another thing. I think the last thing I'll talk about here is initiative, because I know that in 5e there's so much related to initiative as a player, that you can take feats, you could your all your ability scores go towards a certain classes, a bonus towards it, and as you go higher up, you get better at getting initiative. It's like, holy crap, it's tedious, all to go first in combat, right? And that affects the first round, because I don't think really many people roll initiative every single round. I tried that. It's hell. It's hell, because that'll bog down your game, right? So let's say you got 6 people in the bad guy here, right? You got 7 ticks of the initiative order. Here's something you might want to consider: side-based initiative. Okay, side-based initiative means each side rolls a d6. Okay, the DM rolls a d6 for all the bad guys, and the players roll a d6 for all the one player. Take turns as to which player it is. Rolls a d6 for all the good guys, and whichever one rolls higher goes first. That's it. All right, so that side goes. When you're saying, well, we got 6 players here, I rolled a d6. You're saying the players go first. Who goes? That's the fun of it, right? That's the jazz. Because what you have to do now as the players is figure out what makes the most sense tactically. This is going to help players think tactically outside the box. Here is what you do not let the players do: sit there and talk about it. You give them a few seconds. All right, maybe the most vocal person, or the person with the big bang, or the whatever it is who has the best solution to the problem facing you, will say, all right, hey, you do this, trust me, let me do my thing first, and then blah 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 blah. And then let's say their thing is a lightning bolt or a fireball or a crowd control or something like that, or a wall of thorns or bladeberry, whatever it is. A certain person usually will step up and say, I got the perfect thing, trust me, bang. And then based upon that, the rest of the players sort of follow suit. Okay, since the bladeberry is here, I'm gonna hit the ledge over there and shoot down arrows while the guy's stuck behind the bladeberry. All right, you know what I mean? It'll flow. Do not let them talk more than 5 or 6 seconds. All right, that's the rule of thumb. 5 or 6 seconds for the group to talk. It makes it way more exciting because they can't coordinate a plan. If you're doing turn initiative, what'll happen? Each person in a turn, while the first person goes, the other 5 people are talking. Okay, if I do this and you do that, blah blah blah, because it's going to take a long time to resolve this. It's like instant, perfect Clausewitz level planning that you got going on here. That does that. Karl von Clausewitz, military strategist, Sun Tzu, let's say, right? More relevant. People might know that name better. But if you give them all this time to plan, but it's just it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Same thing applies to bad guys now. You as the DM, if you're running a group of orcs here, all right, you can't diddle daddle. You have to figure out what you're going to do, all right, for these orcs and just apply it. Okay. Now, in the old days, people would have to announce and call their moves before the round started. Okay. And then you roll initiatives. I don't like that. I just like basic side, based initiative where you roll a d6 on each side. The high one goes first, 5 or 6 seconds to talk amongst yourselves, and then boom, it's on. And what they do is what they do. Okay. Um, Here's the other thing about it too. People don't realize is that the old way to do it, right? The new way to do it, the 5e way to do it. That the guy with the best initiative is going first every single time. If this combat's going to run for 5 hours, which they sometimes do, it's going to be the exact same initiative order the entire combat. With the turn-based initiative, all right, what you run into is a situation where, let's say, the party went first on round one, okay, and the bad guys went second on round one. Round two, the bad guys get to go again. All right. The party's like, oh shit, we just took a hell of a battering in the last round. We're hoping on this round to do some healing, but we can't because the orcs get to beat our asses again. Whole different situation there, whole different dynamic you're dealing with initiative rolled every single round, a simple D6 side initiative. So I think that'll really add a lot of spice and flavor to it. Like I said, as I said in my other video about the Ben Milton there, probably link to it here. You can't make old school games. You can't make new school games in old school style without changing rules. That's it. You just can't do it. All right. You need to change some rules. And that's what I've done here. So in some cases, though, I said you just got to enforce the rules. Keep track of weapons. Arrows, bad daggers, things like that. Keep track of rations. All right. But and the other thing you're not changing is just make short rests a lot harder to get. Limit your healing potions. Don't let them buy them. All right. They're not in the player's handbook anymore. Things that you're adding, things like morale, things like armor and shields shall break. Mess with the balance. There's no guarantee of balance. Let the players know ahead of time, no guarantee of balance. And give them non-combat situations. I think that side-based initiative is huge. And the one big thing that's going to scare the crap out of the players, and all the whiny ones will complain. I had that happen in my game once. Basically is when the guy goes down, 3 or 4 orcs pile on him and start beating him for a couple of rounds just to make sure the guy never gets up again. That's it. And by eliminating any long distance healing, now the cleric's got to step up and do something and risk getting hit. I think with all of that in a nutshell, you're going to really radically change your new school game to give it a great old school feel. A great old school feel, guys. So I'm curious, if you implement this, let me know how it works. All right. Let me know in the comments anyway. And please do like and subscribe because it helps with the algorithm big time. Share it around. Let people know it's out there. Okay. I'm going to try to do more videos like this because I don't want to be that kind of guy who just gets on there and bitches about things. Science people, I want to throw out helpful alternatives for you. So, all right. So thanks very much for watching. I appreciate it. And if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I'm trying to reply to most everything I possibly can, guys. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.